It's a tradition here on Downloadable Content, and one of the things I like the best. It's the first of our annual free play episodes. Episodes that have no set topic and are an open discussion where anything and everything related to video games can be discussed, debated, and argued over. Anything's fair game, and as is often the case, I have no idea what's going to be brought up. So listen in as we cover a wide range of topics on the first of 3 free play episodes of Season 6. Right here on DLC. Welcome to Downloadable Content. I'm Brian, and with me we have Ron.
Hi, everyone.
And we have Tanya. Welcome back.
Hello.
This is actually a milestone episode for Tanya. This is number 10.
Yay!
You have officially reached episode 10. Although you have 73 more to go to catch up to Ron, so good luck.
I'll try.
Yeah. No, I think, what was the stat, Brian? Like, the second person and third is at, like, 25?
Yeah, something like that. I said something like, you'd have to go on sabbatical for the next 3 years before anyone has even a shot to catch up, so... So, I think that might be an unbreakable record, so... But yes, we are going to be talking about anything. It's the first of our free play episodes for 2016. So we've got some things that we're itching to get out into the open. And before we do, just want to remind everyone that our brand new website, you can find every single episode. Take a look at our bio, send us feedback, ideas, suggestions. www.dlcpodcast.com. It's, sleek, shiny, non-pollutionary, gluten-free, biodegradable, and all sorts of wonderfulness. So, with that, let us dive in, and I think I'm gonna shake it up a little. Usually I'm the one who starts with a topic, but Tanya, as you are the newbie to the free plays, I will give you the floor first. So,
thank you.
Give us something for us to gnaw on.
Mighty Number 9 drama. That's what I'm gonna start out.
You're gonna open with Mighty Number 9. Go ahead.
Money number delay is what I'm calling it.
Yeah, I agree with this. I'm actually going to vent for a moment because I backed the project some years ago, and as a backer, I have been looking forward to seeing. Obviously, having played, I should have been playing this thing as of 2 years ago, but even a year ago, I could see myself playing it. But now, even though it's imminent of its release and so forth and so on, I find myself not only disgruntled, which is a really polite word for how I really feel, but I'm very disgruntled, and I'm also kind of in the nest of not caring. I really just don't care anymore about Mighty Number 9. Now, I looked at the trailer, and by the way, the trailer was a load of suck. It was the biggest bag of nope. I saw how it looked, I saw the screenshots, I saw the trailer, and maybe it's just me, maybe I'm being elitist with the amount that they got, and with who was working on it, that it would be betterly made. Yeah, I can really grammar correctly. That it would be just better made. That it would be worthy of the Inafune title. You know what I mean? It would just have that spark that Mega Man had. and I'm looking at it, and honestly, it looks like somebody took bad Pixar graphics and applied them over a 3D model mesh, and I'm getting this kid show type low budget thing that makes me want to vomit in some tinfoil and eat it. So I don't know what's going on there. Basically, it's disappointing from what I saw on the trailer, which was a load of suck. I'm not a graphics whore by any means at all, but the graphics themselves look like very low budget, especially considering how much money was donated to it. I'm a backer, so obviously, I was looking forward to having that Inafune stamp of approval on it, and instead I get fuckery. It really does look like a very, very low budget Pixar type graphic being applied over 3D mesh models and so forth, and then 2D overlay and so forth. And it just, I don't know. It just, again, I'm not a graphics, so I never gave a flying hoot about graphics, but I just said hoot. Oh my goddess. But I don't like how this is turning out, and I'm really getting to the point where, because of the numerous delays, and because I should have been playing this years ago, if not at least a year ago, that I just don't care anymore. I know I'm not alone in that. I mean, I don't know where all their money went, and I know, and as a developer, I mean, I know where money goes. I mean, it's not like I don't know these things. I do know these things, but I don't understand why they chose this art direction when the concept art looked amazing. I don't understand why they created a trailer that reminded me of a cheesy 90s cartoon type trailer that had probably one of the worst quotes about something like, if you're an anime fan and you're it was degrading anime fans or some sort like that. I forget the quote actually right now, but it was ridiculous. This whole thing's been ridiculous. I'm not liking it. I think it sucks, and I'm gonna play it, and I hope I get to enjoy it. But honestly, I'm not gonna enjoy it nearly as much as I would have a year ago or 2 years ago. There's my rant.
There you go. And I got all of that. So here we are. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know this game is taking forever to come out, and since I'm not really keeping up with it, I didn't back the project. What were the reasons for all of those delays?
Well, now they're saying that there's an imminent release, and I believe it's either nearing the end of this month or next month or something like that. But again, I'll believe it when I see it. But I think the first initial delays were due to graphics. If I remember correctly from the updates, they were due to going in a different direction for the art. I may be wrong in that, but it's been a while. It's been years since I've seen the updates. But I know that that there was one update where they were essentially done with the game. The only thing was the multiplayer, the online multiplayer, that they were having issues with, which I can understand. But I don't understand why it took this long. It just made no sense to me,
Wasn't some of the Kickstarter goals that if they reached X amount of money, they would get it on PS3 or PS4, and then Xbox Live Arcade, and then Wii even, and that they've hit all those goals, so that they had to go from being a PC only title to now being on literally every console under the sun?
Yeah, they and this is the weird thing about that, and thank you for bringing that up, Ron. Was the weird thing about it is they got all these consoles that they were releasing on, including PC, of course. PS Vita, PS4, basically PSN. 3DS, I believe, is on there too. Wii U, I forget all the ones that was on, but I think it was on pretty much all the main consoles. And they sent out an update, and this is like a year ago. They sent an update saying the game is done. The game's done. It's done across, pretty much done for all the platforms, pretty much. They were just implementing multiplayer, and I'm like, what?
Oh, okay, and then here's my question then. Like, was multiplayer one of the things that they had wanted to do? Was it one of the things that they were focusing on?
Well, that's a good question, and honestly, even to this day, I don't know, because
it seems weird. I was gonna say, it seems weird to if the game's single player, by and large, is done with some localization, QA, last minute changes to go through. If it's done by and large, then why is the game not out? If this whole reason that you're delaying it is for multiplayer, then your multiplayer might better be the goddamn next best thing since freaking GoldenEye. Otherwise, this game's I don't see why people are going to want to play this game. Honestly, why for other than the story mode?
You hit the nail on the head, Ron. You hit the absolute nail on the head. I mean, I want it for single player because that's what I play. I don't play Mega Man type games, action platformers for multiplayer. I don't know.
There usually isn't multiplayer in Mega Man games. That's what's surprising.
So I mean, the fact that they honestly, and this is just my own intuition talking, but I really do think the whole, we're implementing multiplayer, got to make sure it works correctly thing, that was a company line. I don't think that's what it was at all. I think it was something else that they weren't telling us, and that's why we're getting what we're getting now.
Well, I wonder if the shift from the initial screenshots and trailer, and then the talk about the change in the art style, I wonder if that's what the issue was, that they had to spend almost an entire year redoing all the sprite work for the game, all the background work for the game.
Well, we know that it's being turned into a TV series for kids.
Oh God, and that's what the issue is. It's almost a year of licensing and local and I don't say that's the entire reason, but if you spend a year in development hell, basically, for lack of a better term, and then that's because they're trying to make it for TV, and they want to have the game come out at almost the same time as a TV show.
Well, that's what I was thinking too. But then I'm hearing, and seeing articles that the TV show isn't due for some months out, if not a year out.
In that case, then I don't know why. There's definitely this is my issue to kind of expand upon this is. This is why I do not do any sort of Kickstarter thing. I will not back anything on Kickstarter. I will not do any of that stuff because you are paying money for a product that isn't even guaranteed to come out. And there's so many issues with Kickstarting stuff where the Kickstarter, even if the Kickstarter goes through and gets approved, they can still close up shop and you're out of that money.
Not anymore.
Oh, really?
Not anymore. The Kickstarter changed their terms of service to that that if you're going to put something on Kickstarter, you need to actually have an actual prototype. You cannot just put up an idea and ask for money. You need to actually have something solid because if they fail to deliver, then all of those backers are entitled to refunds.
Well, it's not even the prototype and not having a prototype available. It's I remember hearing stories about and reading Kotaku articles and stuff like that about people that donated up to $1 million, not people in general, Kickstarting something for up to $1 million or $2 million. And then that, 6 months or 9 months down the road, there's no word or update from the person making it, and they just, disappear with the money.
Yeah, I mean, that was a major problem, but now there are protections in place to prevent that. So, I mean, that was one of the things Kickstarter was getting flack for, because at the time, there was no actual recourse in the event somebody basically stole your money. But now there is, so. I think that one of the problems that happened with this particular project is they got way too ambitious, way too quickly, promised the moon, and are just finding out how long it takes.
Well, I mean, you'd think with if I may interject, you think with industry vets who have been, I mean, these are people, I mean, Inafune and his whole team, they've been in the industry for years. You'd think they would know by now, but I mean, now that they're indie, I mean, they really are. Now they've become indie. So, I mean, you know, now that I think they're finding out that it's a different story. It's a different animal.
Oh, yeah, when you don't have the backing of a major studio or publisher, it's like, oh, shit, we can't do the quick turnaround anymore. So, and I just took a look at the original Kickstarter page. You know, they got about $4 million out of 900,000. And I'm like, the list of stretch goals.
Isn't it crazy?
The list of stretch goals. So they had an original game, and then they tacked on all of this extra stuff, and now they have to deliver on all of that. So I think that this was just a case of they got in way over their head. But that's just speculation. I mean, with all those stretch goals, originally I think it was supposed to be just a PC game, correct?
Yeah, initially it was just supposed to be on PC, Mac, and Linux, I believe.
So, because of all those stretch goals, now it's coming out PC, PS3, PS4, Wii U, Xbox 360, Xbox One, 3DS, and Vita. And
like, it's Xbox 360. People still play games on an Xbox 360? Seriously?
Oh, I do once in a while, but it's only once in a great while, though.
So
yeah, I'm talking like not even like older games. I'm talking like new titles. Like,
oh gods, no.
Yeah, like that's my point. Like, you're making a game for literally is it 10 years now almost?
Is it 10 years?
Almost. It's gotta be, right?
What?
Wow.
For the Xbox 360?
Yeah, I think it's almost 10 years.
It's over that. It's almost 11.
Yeah, November 22nd, 2005 was when the Xbox 360 came out. Yeah, so it's 10 years old. Almost 11.
The Xbox 360 was actually discontinued almost 2 months ago.
Yeah, so you're making a game for a discontinued console. Like, what the hell?
So, and just from the perspective of QA, you are making a game for how many total systems? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
7?
4, 6, 8. You're making a game for 8 consoles.
One of which is no longer made.
Do you know, I can only imagine how long it must take to QA for 8 consoles.
Especially for, I mean, yeah, they got $4 million, but let me tell you, you know, in the grand scope of making what I consider a AAA indie game, that's not, I mean, yeah, that's quite a bit of money, but it's also just the fact you got to do 8 consoles you have to, like you said, to test for. You have to get at least triple that many testers.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Actually, I was wrong. It's coming out on 11 platforms.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what?
You got to have at least 30 testers, if not more than that.
Okay, so the full lists are on Windows, Mac, Linux, PS3, PS4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Wii U, Vita, 3DS, and something called Shield Portable.
What the hell?
That's NVIDIA's, like, portable gaming tablet.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So it's coming out on 11 platforms. I'm slightly, I think that the QA for even, just trying to QA for one platform is challenging enough. 11?
Yeah, that's kind of insane when you really, even if you have a big gigantic testing team, it's still quite a challenge.
So I just think this was the case of, I think, and again, pure speculation, that they got way in over their head with this campaign.
I have to agree. And because of that, the consumer and the backers have, we've, and I can say I think I can actually say it's pretty firmly now. I think a vast majority of, especially those who back the project, we're kind of just in that uncaring zone now. We're just like, yeah, whatever, comes out, I'll play it. It's like, there's no hype. The hype is dead, and that trailer was abominable.
Oh, I think at this point the hype machine is long since, deflated, because, we had a game that originally, on the original Kickstarter, was supposed to come out April of 2015. We are now a year plus
Jeez.
beyond that date. We haven't approached Duke Nukem Forever levels of development hell yet, or Kingdom Hearts 3 levels of development hell yet. You got to give it another 9 years for it to get to that point. But yeah, I mean, this game has to fucking deliver now. So,
and just from seeing the graphics, I'm just gonna end with this, just for myself, just for seeing the graphics and how the levels look and things like that. I played the demo. It's not what I wanted. It really isn't. It's really not what I wanted. Just like, it just isn't. Where are my awesome concept art that's going to be turned into game graphics? Where is it? Where'd it go? It was amazing, and now it's all gone.
Well, the game is on my Steam wish list, so I reserve judgment for when it eventually comes out. As we shall see, allegedly in 3 weeks.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, it might come out. I think the date is now June 21st. So, you've got 16 days from now. So, unless it gets delayed again, which it could.
I would doubt it at this point.
Which, by the time this episode goes up, it may be delayed another year. So you never know. You never know. Your disappointment may continue on. And with that, let's jump to Ron. What do you got for your opening salvo here?
This is a little dated, but it's still interesting to talk about. So, I don't know if anyone else saw this or noticed this, but a few months back, ESPN started doing reporting on news articles and, op-ed pieces on esports-related games, like StarCraft 2, League of Legends, Dota 2, things like that.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Okay. And I just wanted to mainly just throw that idea out there, and quote unquote, have esports made it? Have they finally starting to get notoriety for all their being after 20 years of being something that can't be focused on, can't be made money off of? Now that you have the quote unquote worldwide leader in sports doing reporting on it.
Yeah, I mean, the argument could be we've reached the top, and yeah. But yeah, I have started to notice now that esports have started to catch on with colleges offering full scholarships.
Yeah.
For esports, major tournaments catching on. I mentioned that they had the University League of Legends finals at this most recent PAX East. I think it was only natural before ESPN finally got a hold of it. I mean, and I think part of that is also because now the esports leagues are starting to act like sports leagues with actual rules and penalties for using performance-enhancing drugs.
Yeah. I mean, some of that's
for example.
Yeah, so, I mean, some of that's already been discussed, and there's some rules in place for it, for performance enhancing drugs, making sure players are paid properly, not drafting per se, but getting people from outside the country to play on your team, like the quote unquote stars of the game in terms of really successful or popular players on the various teams, whether it's League of Legends, Dota 2, CS:GO, Heroes of the Storm, stuff like that.
And I just think it's very interesting that now that esports has caught now that ESPN has gotten wind of this. You can actually they have a designated esports page. It's ESPN.
It's ESPN.com/esports.
Yeah, and it's just like whoa. And it's for me, it's kind of a little weird seeing esports in the same breath as the NBA or soccer or baseball or NFL. And it's a little weird, but it's, you know, hell, if golf is a fucking sport, and I think you can get away with, you know, talking about esports as legitimate. I mean, this is a thing that's becoming really, really popular, and with how many people follow the tournaments on, say, Twitch and other streaming sites, yeah, I think it was only natural that ESPN was finally going to be like, you know, maybe we should take this seriously. And
well, so like for example, right now there's like the North American League of Legends, like this is their first week of being live for their summer split, and looking at numbers right now. So like right now there's just under 100,000 people watching one stream. There's 38,000 watching like the second stream, which is like another language or another game because they're doing simultaneous games on two different streams. So that's 130, 140,000 people that are in the like 18 to 26, 29-year-old, 30-year-old market of quote-unquote spending money that you could tap into.
Yeah, I mean, the ESPN and by extension Disney sees all that and they go, merchandising! You know, they see dollar signs in their eyes because...
Yeah. And there were some rumors recently about like ESPN's going to give like $500 million or $50 million or something like that to Riot Games and by proxy Twitch to get all their games on like ESPN 3 or something like that for TV.
Why not? I mean, ESPN 3, I mean, I use it quite a bit because I'm probably one of the few gamers I know that actually also enjoys sports. That's just in my circle of friends. It's
I mean, I enjoy sports too, but it's more so from I appreciate the athleticism behind it, not so much the games themselves. Even though I did play basketball when I was younger.
I mean, I was watching the men's final of the French Open, tennis, earlier this morning. And
you mean the Noah Ark Open?
The what?
The Noah's Ark Open?
Yeah, the Noah's Ark Open. Oh my God, the amount of rain Paris had. Anyway, so here's the funny part. I don't know if you caught this too, Ron, but since ESPN is now making this concerted effort to focus on esports, some of the major ESPN personalities have kind of made fun of that. It's like, really?
Oh yeah, some of them have said like, this is bullshit, this isn't real sports, what are you guys doing? I want to quit my job over this. I'm like, okay, fine. Bye.
They're like, oh, is your little testosterone pride wounded?
Yeah.
Some of the guys got a little salty, I think.
Yeah, well, men are like that. Because they're afraid that League of Legends is going to step on their, NFL turf. I don't know.
It's so weird.
It is so weird, but it's just, who's got the classical music in the background?
That was me, sorry.
I'm like, where's the symphony coming from? This is nice. Suddenly I feel like I'm on NPR a little bit. Anyway. But it's interesting to note that just how big esports has become, because now you go to a convention like PAX and you have these great big, events going on right up side by side to the indie booth, for example, the indie floor. And so it was just funny because I was talking to some indie game developer and demoing their game, and suddenly I hear this monstrous roar from about 50 feet away, and it's like hundreds of people just roared in unison as somebody did something in League of Legends. And it's weird but interesting at the same time. So
is it really that kind of like a viewers is I guess it's a sport. So is that kind of like a viewer's sport type of thing where people just enjoy watching that? Like,
even for the here's how I best describe it. Even for the uninitiated, you get to see up to 5v5 combat going on against people throwing out spells, shooting people in the face, like people taking up a bunch of damage, trying to interact with the opponent team. It's a lot of part of it's due to visuals, but also some of it's just due to like exciting team fights because you see the health bars of all the people that are on the screen, and you're like, oh, this guy's health is real low. Is he going to survive? Or this guy just did 900 damage with one shot. That's insane.
I prefer to think of it like any other, sporting event. I mean, you have games like football or basketball or hockey. They have a clock. So something like this, it's like, life bars or a time constraint. Why not?
I can see that.
I personally don't have the time or the reflexes to devote to something like that, but
do I?
Yeah. But even with like the new game Overwatch, like that officially came out a week and a half ago.
Oh yeah,
2 weeks ago.
Very recently.
Yeah. So already there's over 7 million people playing it. They've already had at least one tournament where you could win actual money for playing in it. And then I imagine there's probably another tournament going on right now. Like, there's definitely excitement in seeing like FPS shooters and MOBA type games that are well done and well designed, mind you, and present the information in such a fashion that any person seeing it for the first time can kind of understand what's going on.
It's an interesting thing to see, and especially with, as we mentioned earlier, colleges giving full scholarships for esports now, so
that's still kind of crazy. I like it. It's just crazy.
It is, and I understand because, I see that and I go, well, that's odd, but then again, people get full scholarships for, other sports, so why not?
The only tournament I really watch is Evo because I love fighting games. So I mean, I love watching like the Evo tournament. And,
and that's another thing that wasn't even mentioned. Is like there's Evo and fighting games. Like you have Street Fighter, Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat, Super Smash Brothers, Guilty Gear, BlazBlue, Marvel vs. Capcom. Like, you've got literally, like, I just named off like 7 or 8 games that are all fighting games. You can easily tell what's going on in this. Person A is trying to beat the crap out of person B, and they're using like special fighting moves to do it.
And speaking of which, Evo is coming up next month.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a lot of fun.
July 15th through 17th, and yeah, again, the amount of time and reflexes these players have is just amazing, and it makes me, when I watch some of these, it makes me feel really, really small because I will play just a casual tournament at PAX for Smash Brothers or something, and I think I'm, pretty good. And then I walk into a room with all of these people, and I'm like, well, I certainly got my ass handed to...
Small fish, big pond. Small fish, big pond.
Yeah, just like, well, I clearly need to have less of a life before I,
Well, keep in mind, so so it's kind of like you're like the casual and the amateur almost, and these are kind of like amateurs trying to break into the professional scene almost. If you wanted to take the sports analogy, you have your casual fans, like the guys that'll do the pickup games for a basketball court, or like the overweight dudes that just want to do some football because they enjoy football. Then you get the people that are actually trying to like get into football or basketball or what have you to try and make it to the pro scene because that's where all the money's at. And it's a similar thing going on in the esports where you got people trying out and competing on like various like the collegiate teams or challenge or like pro-am teams to try and make it to the pro scene. And the only way to get good, just like in sports, is to spend a shitload of time with it and to practice and practice and practice and practice. And then practice some more and practice some more.
I actually am taking a look at the 9 games that are going to be at this year's EVO tournament. So I will give you the list now. We've got Street Fighter V.
Of course.
Current Smash Brothers.
Awesome.
Current Killer Instinct.
Not surprising.
Not surprising.
Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Not surprising.
Pokken Tournament.
That's interesting.
Huh. Okay.
I forgot Pokken Fighter was a thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, Pokken Tournament. Mortal Kombat X.
Of course.
Super Smash Brothers Melee.
What is it with Melee? God.
It's this the modding community that keep it balanced and meta going and stuff like that.
Guilty Gear Xrd.
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 Xrd? I'm like, what the hell?
It just the simpler version is Guilty Gear Revelator.
Yeah. And Tekken 7.
Yeah.
Never liked the Tekken games, but I mean, I'll definitely watch like all of those tournaments because I just enjoy the scene, you know?
I understand, Tanya. I grew up on Mortal Kombat. That was so Mortal Kombat was the fighting series that I played growing up. So when I played games like Soul Calibur and Tekken for the first time, I'm like, where's the gore and it's like there's no weapons or fatalities or they can hit you while you're down. This is weird.
Yeah, really. I mean, I'll never forget the first time I played Soul Calibur 2 for the first time. That was amazing. That's my game. That's my jam right there. I love Soul Calibur 2.
But so, yeah, esports is a thing, and it's getting bigger, and now ESPN's paying attention to it. So, all right. So we'll move on to me, and now we get into a little, not quite philosophical, but something that have you ever had an idea for something and then you hear or see or read something that kind of expresses your thoughts to a T?
I was going to say, being the creative people that we are, the answer to that is 3 times a week.
Yeah. So I was actually thinking of making this a full episode, but I don't think there was enough to go on, so I decided to have this out in a free play instead. And I was thinking about this, and then I saw a Game Informer article about it about a month later. It was one of their opinion articles, and it's talking about the virtues of going into a video game blind.
Ah.
And I thought about this because of Undertale. And so that's what I'm going to preface with, because I have found through the 25 years or so I've been playing video games that if there is a game that I am interested in playing, I will go out of my way to try to avoid anything and everything that gets talked about, you know, the previews and trailers or whatnot for a particular game. Because it is my opinion, and I know that there are people who disagree with me on this, that if I know nothing about the game going into it and I'm not influenced by reviews and trailers and other people's opinions about the game, I will get the most emotional experience out of a game. If I know nothing about it, I will be able to form my own opinion and get, all of the emotional impact, particularly if it's a narrative-heavy game. So, the reason why Undertale sprang to mind was because this particular game was a game I wanted to play, and I didn't know anything about it, and I knew it was an RPG, and I knew that it was, pretty heavy on the story, and I was interested in playing it, and it was gifted to me. So, even better, I didn't have to spend any money on it. And even though before I had played it, it had been out for some months when some of my friends were talking about it, and they had told me that the game has 3 different endings. And they told me how those endings are, how you get those endings.
How you achieve the endings in Undertale.
How you get the endings in Undertale. And when I played Undertale, knowing those bits of information kind of prevented me from enjoying a game to the fullest, because now that I know, and if you have not played Undertale, this is a spoiler alert, so stop listening now. I'll give you a few seconds.
Time's up.
All right. They told me that, you get the neutral ending on the first playthrough, and if you want to get the pacifist ending, you can't kill anything. Genocide ending, you have to kill everything. But that bit of information kind of influenced how I played the game, where I probably would have just otherwise, gone through it the way I typically play an RPG. As a result, I felt that when I did finally get to the ending of the game, which was the neutral ending, that's the ending everyone gets on their first run, the game kind of felt a little hollow. Because I knew what was coming. And because Undertale did not do for me what it's done for many other people, this is a game that is well liked. This
game is bipolar. This game is bipolar.
I have not yet run into enough people who just hate it outright. Tanya, I know you don't like it.
No, I don't like it.
But, this game, I didn't like it or hate it. It was just kind of like alright. I mean, there were some definite, creative aspects of the game that I really enjoyed. I love the music. I actually did, I bought the soundtrack. I really enjoyed the music. But on the whole, I felt that the game, was, being a bit, sort of preachy. I felt that it was, in order to get the true ending, you have to play the pacifist route, which I think is a very tired game trope. For once, I'd like to see the true ending, happen when you actually do kill everything in the game, for example. I want to see a game where the way you get the real ending is by being an actual asshole.
I like that.
So, well, make one, Tanya.
I will get right on that.
Add that to your long schedule of... So, and when I told friends of mine that the game just kind of was like, I'm probably not going to play it again to see the other 2 endings because, I just didn't really like it enough for me to want to, spend the time doing that. They were horrified, some of them. And then they tried to convert me. It's like, oh, well, you just haven't given it a chance. Play it through, try to, play the pacifist route. And no, I don't want to.
I don't want to play Undertale again for pacifist or the genocide route, because one's very tiring in the sense of you have to fight literally everything that you can and kill everything, which is a very tiring thing to do from a number standpoint of just killing 10s, 20s, of 30s of getting, literally walking around and getting into random encounters to kill things. That does not sound like fun. And on the flip side, to get the pacifist ending, you have to play bullet hell. And screw bullet. I don't mind bullet hell games. I can enjoy them. But if I'm going to play a game for a bullet hell, excuse me, for a quote unquote true ending, and the way to do it is bullet hell, where I can't even shoot back. I'm not doing that. That does not sound like bullet hell. That sounds like torture.
I fully agree. I mean, I beat the game, got the neutral ending, thought it was this generation's Earthbound, and said, fuck it.
And that's perfectly fair. I mean, whatever criticism, whether you like or hate the game, that's your own opinion, and you're entitled to that opinion. But, back to my original point, I find it best to go into a video game blind. Now, I don't know whether you agree with me or not, or whether you like actually seeing previews and trailers and want to know everything you can about the game. I mean, in the article points out on Game Informer, the opinion piece, that with social media and whatnot, that's become much harder to do.
Because people love spoiling things, as evidenced by Game of Thrones.
Absolutely.
Brian, to go back to your original discussion or idea, I used to be opposite. I used to want to engross myself in everything and learn everything I can about it and go into it really hyped and excited for it. And then I stopped doing that, and there's a very particular reason why I stopped doing that. Okay,
well, go on. Are you keeping us in suspense?
That's what I was going to ask. Well, why? But the reason why, the game that did it for me was Final Fantasy X. I was really excited about the Final Fantasy series as a whole. I wanted to, this is going to be the first Final Fantasy on PlayStation 2. There's going to be actual the graphics from Final Fantasy 9 are going to be even better because it's going to be on PlayStation 2. The best system of all time of the 15-year-old Ron's mindset. And I was reading up on all the story I could from 2000 and 2001 and the internet back then. And I'm just going to learn all that I can, and I'm going to go into this game and be really excited for it. And I got it, and I played through it, and I didn't enjoy myself. It as much as I thought. The mental build-up and expectation of this thing going to be the next Final Fantasy VII or the next Chrono Trigger or something like that. I didn't get that same feeling. And yet there are people that have played 10 and think, yeah, there's some issues with it, but it's still a really good game. Whereas my memories and emotions on 10 are kind of it's decent at best. It doesn't really do this much for me as the older games did. And part of that reason, I think, is just that I overhyped myself out of it, basically. Where I wanted it to be this next great thing, and it just wasn't. Whereas most recently with Dark Souls 3, I went into it completely blind. I purposely avoided as much information as I could about it. I didn't look up anything about it. The only time I actually looked at things was when I was looking for specific items that I knew were in the game because of my prior history with Dark Souls 1 and 2. Where I knew there was a ring that helped increase my stamina regeneration, or I knew there was a ring that helped me gain more souls so I could level up faster, basically. Other than looking up those particular things, I played the game completely blind. And part of that is just because of the fact that like I wanted to enjoy the game. I wanted to enjoy the difficulty of the game, and I had a relatively fun time playing Dark Souls 3. It was what I expected out of the series. I don't like certain design choices they did in terms of making the gameplay more challenging, or how they balance certain things, but they had an idea and like they stuck with it, and it lives up to the Dark Souls name, and I'm glad that this is the last game in the series, even though I will not be surprised in the slightest if this E3 in a week or two that Surprise from Software is making another Dark Souls-esque game, or it's Bloodborne 2 or some new title that has that similar gameplay, art style, what have you.
Yeah, that remains to be seen. But what about you, Tanya? I know you have, your time is split between developing and playing, but for you, what do you like going into a game? Are you the type that wants to know everything beforehand, or do you want to go in knowing as little as possible?
Actually, honestly, I'm right in the middle. It all depends on the game. I can tell you that I'm Let's Playing a game right now called Celestian Tales Old North, completely blind. I don't know anything about it. The only thing I knew about it was that it was a turn-based RPG. I looked at some of the information on the Steam store page, and that was it. And for me, the reason why I kind of have a little bit of both is price. There are some games, like for instance, the new Doom that just came out, which is freaking amazing, I might add. But the new Doom that just came out, I'm a huge fan of Doom, so for me, I was automatically hyped. But I wanted to know all I could about it because it's a $60 purchase, and for me, the value of a dollar goes a long way. For a lot of people, the value of a dollar goes a long way. So for me, I'm very particular about where my money goes when it comes to gaming. So I have to kind of balance that out with, well, okay, I'm really hyped for this game. Let me see if it's worth my $60. And I'll learn all I can about that game if I'm really hyped for it, but I know it's going to have a hefty price tag. But now, if there's an RPG like Celestian Tales, which I'm playing through right now for an LP, if there's an RPG like that where it's turn-based and that's all I know about it, and just like maybe like, actually I don't even think I even looked at a screenshot when I got it. So literally I just looked on some information about it. I was like, okay, this sounds like right up my alley. I'm going to do it completely blind, and so far I'm enjoying it. But it also wasn't bad. It also wasn't a hefty price tag either. So for me, it's a combination of it's a balancing act between what game has me hyped for it, but I need to know if it's going to be worth my money or not, as opposed to indie games or just even AAA games that may not have maybe like $20-$30 upon release. I can be a little more I can have that leeway there and go, okay, well, this isn't a $60 game. It does it look like it's up my alley? Well, okay, I'll give it a shot and see if I like it or not, and I'll go in completely blind for those types of games there. But mostly I go in blind for RPGs, completely blind. Won't know anything about it. Obviously, that doesn't happen with the likes of like FF7 Remake or FF15 because I know that for one, A, those are going to have hefty price tags. B, I want to know all I can about them, and C, there is no possible way I'm going to be able to avoid any information about those particular titles in this day and age. So I know that. But yeah, I guess for me, it really depends upon the title, and the price associated with the title, and if I think that the quality justifies it. So yeah.
And I certainly understand that argument, about price. I mean, video game AAA titles especially are expensive, so if you're going to commit to that, maybe not a bad idea. Although the last time I spent $60 on a game, I got burned horribly, so Looking at you, Capcom. So it's just it's a thing to each their own, and also Tumblr Savior is a beautiful thing.
Tumblr Savior?
If you have Tumblr, not everyone out there has Tumblr, but there is a third-party app, it's a Google Chrome extension called Tumblr Savior, and you can put, you create a list of keywords that whenever you refresh your dashboard, it'll, go through your feed and blank out posts that have those keywords or hashtags tags
so
in
like
them.
hashtag GOT if you want to avoid Game of Thrones the latest episode spoilers, or what would be another thing, like TV wise, or like a sporting event that you want to.
Like I have hashtag Doctor Who, for example.
Yeah.
And it wipes out everything. Every post that my friends put up on Tumblr, anyone I follow that has Doctor Who in it, it gets rid of it entirely.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I don't have Tumblr, but I find it interesting, though.
It comes in very handy because, especially when you have people you follow, I have April. I follow April on Tumblr, and she has a lot of fandom interests in things that I have absolutely no interest in. So rather than see my Tumblr, my dashboard spammed with a bunch of things regarding a fandom that April is part of, it just wipes those posts right out. It's like, nope, you don't have to see these. And thank you.
Well, that's a nice filter system. That's pretty cool.
That is very cool, and it's
also slightly creepy about like it's kind of like a Big Brother technology almost.
Kind of, but I'm a big fan of Doctor Who, and I know that some spoilers are inevitable, but if I don't want to see 25 Doctor Who posts in a row, it's just like, let's just put that into my Tumblr Savior list, and yep, they're gone.
Yeah, no, I definitely get you. It definitely sounds useful.
So it's a nice feature to have. All right, so we have gone around once on this first half of our first free play episode of the year. On our second half, it'll be second verse, same as the first. So you'll have some music, and we will cut out. You're listening to our first free play episode of 2016 here on Downloadable Content. We'll be back. All right, welcome back to Downloadable Content, our first free play episode of 2016. Open discussion, we're all still here. Tanya hasn't disappeared. Ron hasn't gone off to join an esports team.
Yeah, I'm a little too old for that, I think.
And since they have, bans on performance-enhancing drugs, we can't even medicate Ron into fighting shape here.
No super gamer serum for me.
Well, alas. Poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio. All right. Let's dive right into the second half. So once again, we will open with Tanya. Spin your wheel and let's have something to chat about.
Now I need a wheel. I just need a wheel of ideas. No. But I do actually have something I want to talk about, and it's not Earthbound hate, even though I want to hate on Earthbound really bad. But actually, it's about FF15, Final Fantasy 15. That's what I want to discuss real quick.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Well, we're getting closer and closer now to launch date, and as we get closer and closer, it's getting to the point where now I can't really put off discussion of it, even though I have literally been asked this at least twice a day by pretty much the same people on my friends list and even people, offline. People are asking me, Tanya, what do you think about are you going to get FF15? What do you think about it? Are you going to get it? What? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. I have nothing to say about it. And actually, I do have something to say about it.
All right, I'm just going to pencil in the next 30 minutes. Go ahead, Tanya.
I'm actually going to make this. I'm actually don't have a lot to say about it, but I do have a bit. My first thing is it's an action RPG. Yes. That does not discount it. I mean, I love me some action RPGs. Do not get me wrong. I love the East series. I love plenty of action RPGs, both Western and Japanese out there. I love Secret of Mana. I love a whole bunch of them. But, and I'm probably going to get some hate for this.
Yeah, but this is a big but.
But it is not a Final Fantasy game, in my opinion. Why? Because since its very first installment, every Final Fantasy game, except for the MMOs, of course, but I don't count those. Every Final Fantasy game that is a numbered part of the series has at least retained some form of either turn-based or the active time-based system, or or even an enhanced version of it, like in 13, or they say it's enhanced. I thought that was fuckery, but whatever. But in any case, there's always been that callback. And no, a battle system does not make an RPG. It does not make a series. But these are the same people that innovated that system. These are the same people that brought in their fan base using these battle systems. People like me who have been around since the original NES days with the original Final Fantasy, where we're getting our asses handed to us by supposedly low-level creeps. And to me, it's an insult. Final Fantasy 15 is an insult. That doesn't mean I'm not going to buy it, because I do love action RPGs. But in my brain, I'm actually saying to myself, Tanya, you can't think of this as FF15. Think of this as Final Fantasy action RPG. Or I should say Final Fantasy road trip action RPG. Because if you're, to me, a name means something, and a numbered title would that name mean something? It's not like Dirge of Cerberus for, FF7 Dirge of Cerberus back on PS2. It's not Crisis Core, which is a great PSP game. I loved it, and that's another action RPG. Crisis Core, loved that game, but it's not a numbered entry. If you do a spin-off, if you do a prequel or whatever, or even a sequel that's not numbered, then I'm all for it. Go do it. Have yourself a time. But when you make a numbered entry in that main flagship series, it's the same thing in my eyes as taking, say, the Langrisser series, which is a tactical RPG series, and instead of having it be a tactical RPG where you move units around and everything, kind of like a Fire Emblem and all that, instead of having it that way, you turn it into an action RPG that makes no sense. Or having a Sonic game, instead of it being a Sonic game, even though Sonic sucks lately, instead of having it be a Sonic game, it's now a puzzle game. Although there have been those, but it's now like a Tetris type game. It's now Sonic Tetris. It takes away from what makes the series what it is. It takes away what brought us there to begin with. And now I'm not saying there shouldn't be innovation and there shouldn't be enhancements and advancements. Of course, I mean, that's gonna happen. This is the games industry. This is what we do. But to do what they're doing, I'm sorry. I feel insulted. I'm not even offended. Who gives a hell if I'm offended or not? No, everybody's offended lately, but I feel insulted as somebody who's been a loyal customer of them for many, many years. I feel like they're basically telling my generation to go fuck ourselves, and because they're catering to the new generation, quote unquote, the new generation. And we're old fogies and we don't belong, even though we're the ones that are still buying their games. We're the ones that are doing, that are doing the information hunting, and we're the ones that are now parents, and and we're the ones that are buying for our kids. So and this is how I feel. I really feel very strongly about this upcoming title. I don't feel as if it's. I'm sure it might be amazing. It's probably gonna be amazing. It's probably gonna sell like hotcakes, and I hope it does. I honestly do. I hope it does, because I don't wish it ill. But for me, I think for it to be a numbered part of the series, and for it to be an action RPG, hasn't that been done to death? I mean, do you know how many Japanese RPGs I played that are action RPGs? There's only so much you can do with the system. I mean, people say. I mean, I've heard people say this, that turn-based is outdated and blah blah blah. No, it's not. It just hasn't been evolved to the point where it can be evolved to. But action RPGs, I mean, honestly, how many leveling systems can you really make out of that? How many battle systems can you make that are action based, that are completely unique from one another? I mean, there's only so much you can do before it gets stale. And that's my problem with the game. It's not that it's going to be a horrible game. It's that they're doing a system that's new for their franchise, for that particular franchise, yes. But it's not fresh. It's a stale system. It's been done to death lately. If I want to play an awesome action RPG, I'll play Bloodborne, or I'll play that Lord of the Rings game that came out. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I'll play that, or I'll play an East game if I want an action RPG, for a Japanese RPG. I'll play an indie game that's an action RPG that's done in the Japanese type style. There's plenty of them out there for far less money too, I might add. So I mean, I just don't know why they went this route. I don't understand it. I am insulted. It looks amazing.
The graphics look astounding. The battle system does look pretty. I mean, unfortunately, I did play some of the demo, and it was press X to win. It was they call it being accessible. I call it being Mystic Quest easy. Yes, it's going to be a very accessible game. It's going to be a game for the younger part of the public. I get that. But why are you discounting the people who put you there to begin with? And I have been questioning a lot of Square's, business decisions lately. But this one, I really take issue with. I really don't know why they went this route. And I'm not saying it should be turn-based, but I am saying, why not evolve like the Chrono Trigger system? I mean, there's a game coming out called I Am Setsuna. It looks amazing. It's got the Chrono Trigger type system to it. It looks amazing. Why can't they take that system and evolve it? Still have a type of ATB system with it, but make it better. Why don't they do this instead of making it Final Fantasy 15, Road Trip Devil May Cry meets Kingdom Hearts? Yeah, that's my take on that.
Well, that was almost 10 minutes. So, not quite the 30 that I initially penciled off there. But, I've had problems with the Final Fantasy series in recent incarnations, mostly because I strongly feel that Square has taken the focus entirely off of good story writing and good narratives and good characters, and have given all of it to how can we make this game look pretty. So, the action RPG, okay, fine. It's not my cup of tea. And you brought up a criticism in that long screed of yours, which is one of the reasons why JRPGs as a whole, the entire genre, have fallen incredibly out of favor in this country, and it is for the reasons you said. AAA developers have this idea that JRPGs have run their course. That if you make a game now in which you have to, there's active time battles or turn-based battles, period, it's too slow. I mean, a lot of it has to do with how we consume games nowadays. You don't typically find RPGs anymore in which level grinding is a very important facet. Everything has to be quick, everything has to be fast, everything has to be move, which is, again, a large part of why no one really does. You don't see too many JRPGs anymore from AAA developers, because if they do something like that, then all the reviews that are going to come back saying, this is old, this is boring, this is tired. So I think Square's reasoning for making Final Fantasy 15 is as an action RPG, as opposed to the tried and true turn-based, or anything really turn-based, is because they don't want that negative press.
That's just, it kills me, because...
Oh, I
know they could evolve it. I know they could.
Here's the thing, and this is the main difference between indie developers and AAA developers. Indie developers are perfectly willing and able and do take creative risk, because they don't have a whole lot to lose. They don't have to answer to shareholders. They don't have to answer to boards of trustees. They don't have to answer to financial backers or executives, whereas a AAA studio does. So a AAA studio is not going to take that risk because they feel that it's going to hurt their bottom line to the point where they're going to lose sponsors or financial backers, or they're going to have to hear it from all the executives and shareholders that they answer to. Which is
I definitely agree with that.
Which is why you see so many indie games still utilizing older style of graphics, the pixel art, the older sort of battle systems that you find in RPGs, because, unlike the AAA developers, the indie developers are like, hell, we grew up on these games. Let's make games in that similar style, and wouldn't you know it, there's still a demand for those types of games. And even Square Enix has caught on to this. Square Enix very recently created a studio called Tokyo RPG Studio. It is a Square Enix studio that was specifically created, and its entire purpose is to create retro-style video games, which is why they are putting out I Am Setsuna. And it's probably going to be amazing. And Square's going to be like, well, what do you know? People actually still like this.
But and this is what's going to kill me, and I know this is what's going to happen too, Brian, is they're going to look at the sales from I Am Setsuna and going to be like, holy damn, look at these sales. And I guarantee you it's going to do amazing. Because it doesn't just. The gameplay looks amazing, but it's not just the gameplay. The art direction looks amazing in that game. So they're going to look at these sales and going to go, wow, what does this tell us? Well, they're not going to care what that's going to tell them. They're really not, because it's not going to affect their AAA development. Because even though I Am Setsuna is coming from. Well, actually, I should say it's coming from an extension of Square Enix. It's not a AAA title. It's not a Final Fantasy VII remake with a turn-based battle system. It's not an FF15. It has that indie spirit to it still. It's still got that. Even though it's being published by Square Enix, it still has that indie feel to it. And just from what I've seen so far, and why can't they see that if they made a AAA title, a real AAA title with the graphics of like an FF15 or an FF7, and they really did a number with either an active time system or even evolution of that system or whatever the case may be, and they really did a number on it, that why wouldn't they see that sales would be enormous for a title like that? Do they not see this? That's my question.
I think the same thing happened for Child of Light, for example. That was Ubisoft. That was an Ubisoft title that they very quietly released at the same time, I think, as Assassin's Creed 8000 was.
Yeah, I love Child of Light. Good game, by the way. Great game, actually.
So, and I loved it. I loved Child of Light. And now, I'm curious as to when I Am Setsuna comes out. I am curious to see what the professional, quote-unquote, professional reviews for this game are going to be. Are they going to come up, are they going to trot out this battle system is dated, it's using too many JRPG tropes, this is tired, this is boring? Or are they going to love it? That remains to be seen. The game's not out yet.
No, it's not. But I'm going to make a prediction. So again, I've been wrong before, but I'm going to make a prediction real quick. My prediction is it's going to do amazing in sales. It's going to have amazing review scores. And they're going to use words like fresh take on an old idea, or they're going to use wording like the battle system feels fresh. I guarantee you in someone's review, they're going to have the word fresh because, and maybe, again, it's just my opinion.
It's a buzzword.
I think, yeah, it really is. But I think, in my opinion, the action RPG, the genre itself is a bit, and I'm going to say it, it's a bit tired. It's a bit dated. And I was going to leave it at that.
but we shall see. We shall find out when the game comes out in July, and I may actually plunk down the $40 to pre-order it. I don't know.
I think it's on sale actually on Steam. I think
The game's not out yet.
no, but it's
For
on
which game?
pre-order. It's on pre-order right now, though.
I am Setsuna. Let's find out. Hello, Steam. No, it's not on sale. It's a $40 pre-order.
Oh, is it? Oh, wow.
Yep, and the developer is Tokyo RPG Factory. That's a Square Enix offshoot, specifically made because Square Enix said, make retro-style games. Apparently people still like this.
I know the sale's going to go through the roof. I know it. I can feel it in my bones.
Well, we shall find out. So, all right, so 20 minutes on that. 20 minutes on a Final Fantasy 15 rant. Ron, to you.
All right. So, I know I play them. I know Brian plays them. I'm not sure if Tanya does. Dungeons and Dragons has their 5th edition came out 18 months ago, thereabouts, and it seems to be relatively successful. I don't know, there's no numbers because Wizards of the Coast never releases numbers for anything like that, as far as I know, but from anecdotal evidence and forums and whatnot, it certainly seems as though it is a very successful thing, and there's always like Twitch streams going of people playing Dungeons and Dragons or a tabletop game of some kind, and there's various shows of having famous voice actors playing Dungeons and Dragons and broadcasting it for people on Twitch to see of their gameplay, and thousands of people watch them, and there's interlacing their new storylines with the Neverwinter free-to-play MMO that's on PC right now. Like their upcoming storyline, they're going to have a tie-in to Neverwinter. I guess my general question to you guys is, do you think there's going to be more hype or development for Dungeons and Dragons? By that I mean, are we going to start seeing TV shows? Is there going to be movie talks again for this after the debacle that was the prior Dungeons and Dragons movie? Or do you think this is just a fad that was going to go away and it's going to die down because pen and paper is quote unquote out of date compared to modern day gaming?
Tanya, you want to field this first?
Honestly, I don't really have much to say about that. I mean, I used to be a big into D&D back in the day, back before there was dirt when I was young, and I played on like D&D, 2 point something. I forget what it was, but like I remember doing tabletop and all that, so it does have a place in my heart. But saying that, I mean, do I think that there's going to be I guess you could say a resurgence, in like media,
a renaissance almost, I guess.
A renaissance? I don't know about you guys. I have seen a lot more talk lately from younger folks on forums and on Facebook groups about doing tabletop sessions. I think the further we get into the digital age, the more people, especially young people, are going to want to grasp onto something that's more physical and get their friends involved, and the local friends involved, and maybe that's like a natural extension of going into the digital age. I mean, I don't know. That's just me ruminating.
I don't think that this will accelerate into, movie deals and whatnot, because I just don't think so. I just think it's part of what's been happening with social media to begin with. I mean, Twitch, whoever came up with Twitch is freaking genius.
Well, they sold to Amazon for
Right.
900 million.
I know they sold to Amazon, so now it belongs to Amazon, and that's fine. But I just think that stuff like this it's just making it more accessible, which I think is a great way to go. But as for your question, I don't think it's going to result in a lot of media hype. If anything, I think it may get more people playing.
All right. Well, I guess part of the reason why I mentioned the media type or the media talk is because, like, there's a arguably the most popular one that's on, like from a broadcaster standpoint, is a show called Critical Role.
Yep.
Where it's Matthew Mercer and Ashley Johnson and Liam O'Brien and like a bunch of other, like, a couple of them are comedians or actors. Some of them are normal voice actors, but like probably the most well known of them is Matt Mercer for being in like hundreds of games. He's
he's Commander Shepard.
Yeah, he's Shepard. He's Levi for the English translation on Attack on Titan. He's McCready in Fallout 4. He's McCree in Overwatch. He's like it's him and Troy Baker. They're like almost like the top two male voice actors in Hollywood right now. And it's just interesting that, I guess almost stemming from like not him per se, but like people like that sort of fan base of people that like D&D or tabletop gaming in general. I guess it's also starting to spread out through all of Hollywood, and like all the writers and all the actors are kind of like making their own groups. There's always been that like rumor of Vin Diesel plays D&D. Got Meryl Streep playing. She got some other actress playing D&D with her grandkids, just due to his involvement in the Riddick films and stuff like that.
I actually have if I may interject real quick, I actually have a link. This is about 10 months old, but I have about a link where it's from Cinema Blend, where Dungeons and Dragons' new movie is moving forward.
Okay. So give us the moment to read this.
I don't know. Anytime there's a game-based movie that is being talked about, I'm just like, eh.
Well, isn't there another game-based movie coming out soon? There's Warcraft. I mean, that abysmal thing that looks like it's going to be terrible.
It's got horrible scores on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed movie that's coming out.
There's Assassin's Creed, and I swore there was one more.
Was it Tom Clancy's The Division? Is that
That's a game? I don't know if that's being made into a movie though. Yeah, but like just the general idea of like, I don't know, if this can lead to maybe better writing, better plots coming out of Hollywood, I'd be all for that, because the movies have been getting very, very bland and not innovative in the slightest as of the past few years.
You mean like a Pixels?
I don't know.
I don't know. I kind of, would like to see like if we're gonna do a D&D movie, have like somebody who, instead of having some Hollywood writer write it, just have like a DM write it as if it was a campaign.
Yeah. Well, like I'm curious to see how Okay, here to evolve on this idea, I just got to point to the person who's going to direct and write the next D&D blockbuster movie for Hollywood. How are you going to set it up for them? Like, how are you filming it, basically?
Like, I would like to see, a battle going on, and then just suddenly a giant D20 just fall right in the middle of the field.
And that's like your opening shot or something, I guess?
Maybe. Just...
That's a good question, actually.
Maybe. It's like you have this combat going on, great, important plot combat, and suddenly just, boom, there's a dice that just hits the field out of nowhere.
I think I'd start giggling like hell.
Yeah, I would
do you want it to be super serious? Do you want to have it be a little tongue-in-cheek? Do you want to have it be...
Oh, I want it to parody itself all over the place.
Okay. You just want to splurge the parody onto the audience. I
do, because anytime I think anybody tries to make a really serious video game movie, it falls flat on its ass.
Well, that's not I guess that's part of what the Warcraft movie's done. I don't know. They're trying to be serious with it, but I'm not a big Warcraft person, so I don't know the... Like,
for example, Silent Hill, the Silent Hill movie. Like, all right. It was one of those movies that Silent Hill was one of those movies that you kind of really had to play the game to understand what was going on. And that's one of the problems that movies based on games is that there's a certain set of the general public that will understand what's going on, while the rest of the general public will be like, what the fuck's going on? And so the problem is trying to balance out such a movie that you'll satisfy the gamers or the fans of that game versus, the general public.
Yeah. And I guess the question then is, I would assume Hollywood goes for the general public and not the fans of the genre, because more than likely they get more money out of the general public than they would out of the fans.
It's a bigger customer base.
That is logical, but then that doesn't explain Warcraft, though. Because
I've never played Warcraft, and yeah.
Because from what I understand, and again, I'm not a Warcraft person. I don't plan on seeing the movie, but I know that apparently, from what many people are, not just reviewers, many people are saying that there's a lot of lore and references to the game in there, and people who are not into the games and don't have any idea what they're about. They're left completely puzzled because they have no idea what's going on and why it's going on to begin with. So I think Warcraft is a movie that did the opposite. I think it catered to games, people who are supporters of the franchise, and it bombed.
And again, that's the problem. So if you have a situation, if Warcraft is that type of movie where it is very appealing to the fans, but no one else, it's going to bomb, because anyone who has no idea of what Warcraft is about, they're going to walk out of that going, what the fuck did I just see?
Yeah, what did I just spend $30 on seeing? At least 30, I guess. 15 for a ticket, 15, at least 20 for food, or pop. So yeah, at least $30.
And that's the problem. That's a huge obstacle for any game-based movie.
See, actually, I like your idea, Brian. I really do. I like that idea because, they tried doing Dungeons and Dragons as a movie that was serious for the first time, right? And it was horrible. I think they should do like a self-parody type of thing. I think that'd be great.
I agree with Brian. If it was me, I think I would do self-parody where maybe the first 20 or so minutes are like quote-unquote serious in the moment combat, and then all of a sudden you have something that breaks that illusion of suspension, and so you, the viewer, are having the imagination of the player or the DM, and then you get snapped out of it and brought to the real world when rules question comes up or something in real life happens, like the pizza arrives.
Actually, I just had an idea that it's kind of funny, Ron. You and I kind of on the same wavelength, real quick, right there. My idea was just now, why not the game? The game, yeah. The movie starts out with a D&D table session actually happening. Like that's how the movie starts, and the kids or the adult, whomever is playing, they get sucked into the actual world.
Okay, Tanya, there's a problem with that right there. It's called the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon.
Oh, that's right. Shit.
only instead of it being them playing it, they're on a goddamn roller coaster ride and get sucked into the D&D world.
I forgot about that. I really forgot about that too.
Ron's just like, the one problem with that is copyright infringement. It's
exactly the minor problem of copyright infringement.
Well, shit.
Yeah. God damn it!
I mean, but again, you had the issue of that sounds very stereotypical, tropey, because immediately it's going to be the players going to have so much quote unquote meta information of how the rules of the world work, how the spells and how to abuse certain things.
And I think that's how it should be. It should be meta. It should be. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons. It's so old. It should be a self parody of its, and it should be very meta. It should be like. I mean, that's just not off the top of my head, but I mean, it should be like it should poke fun at itself. It should have its characters, whoever the characters may be in the movie, have them be self-aware of what's going on, how ridiculous it is.
You'll have a bard in battle, and they'll have to use a spell, and there's I need to roll. Yeah. They're hoping that they're fighting this enemy, and they use a spell, and you have to wait for the enemy to see if they make a saving throw.
Probably one of the, I guess, and it's just there's certain things that I think would be difficult to show in try and make it be true to the D&D name, I kind of want them to have it be a parody, semi-serious, semi-comedy sort of thing.
Final boss of the campaign is named Gygax, but anyway.
I mean, you could do something like that, or maybe the campaign takes place in the months leading up to Gen Con or the next expansion for the actual real life Dungeons and Dragons product, and the players are the first beta testers of the game or something like that. I don't know. There's definitely a lot in terms of story potential that's there. It's just having it be interesting enough is the problem, I guess, to capture the attention of the general audience.
And I mean that's the thing for any game-based movie. So. But it's not a bad. It could work. I think it could work.
Let's also keep in mind too that again, this is from the Cinema Blend article, and I'm not sure if this is confirmed or not. But the screenwriters for this upcoming movie are the same ones who did Red Riding Hood.
Was that the action Woodsman's Tale Red Riding Hood story bullshit? That came out a little while ago.
I think so. I'm not quite sure on that.
Huntsman's War or whatever that movie's called.
Oh, Snow White and the Huntsman.
Yeah, is it that same people or is it someone else?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up.
Because there's been some really bad fairy tale movies being made. You had the Hansel and Gretel film. The Vin Diesel Last Witch Hunter, I guess, is actually supposedly pretty decent if you enjoy mindless action flicks. But you had the Snow White one. You had Maleficent a couple years ago, at least, right, with Angelina Jolie.
Yep. And okay, yeah. So these screenwriters did Red Riding Hood, Wrath of the Titans. The new one. So they. So this is, and apparently there's a plan in place to set the movie and the game's campaign set in those Forgotten Realms. So I don't know.
Okay, and even then, right there, that's an issue because there's so much. Okay, for those who don't know, the Forgotten Realms story, world, is probably the oldest story setting in Dungeons and Dragons. It's almost as old as the game itself. So there's literally 30 some odd years of history and characters that have occurred in that setting, which takes place over literally thousands of in that world's years. There's no way of being able to easily describe that to moviegoers in a 2-hour movie. Hell, they were barely able to do it with Lord of the Rings, and that was only just due to how well written the Lord of the Rings movies were and how old they were. Lord of the Rings was 80 years at least before the movies came out.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so and not to mention the fact that sometimes the Lord of the Rings movies are required reading in certain schools. So it's just, there's going to be so many issues. I threw that idea out there just to try and generate discussion. So I'm glad that we came up with something. Also, some screenwriter is doing this. At least give us a little bit of credit for it. We're not asking for too much money, just enough to pay the internet bill.
How about a few million? That might be nice.
Yeah, we're not being too greedy. Percentage of money made via movie sales, ticket sales.
Yeah, make the check payable to.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll accept large cash bribes.
They can be in large sacks of money, or briefcases, or duffel bags. We do not discriminate against suitcases or luggage items of any kind.
No, we don't.
Nope. It's all good.
It's all good. So very good. All right, so we will come to me then to close this on out. And I think we're going to come full circle, where this was not intentional, but it's I guess how it is. We opened with Tanya talking about the delays over Mighty Number 9. Another game that is very, very widely anticipated and has been delayed is No Man's Sky. And
I feel bad for the developer, the guy who made it. I really do.
And this is, and I think you know where I'm going with this, because I read this on Polygon a couple of weeks ago. No, it had to have been less, because I have the article in front of me, and it only came out, it went up a week ago. So no, getting my time-space continuum mixed up, but that'll happen.
It'll happen when you're in a TARDIS.
Yeah, time's not linear for me. And the thing that caught my attention was the fact that, the game is very highly anticipated. I know that we've mentioned it on DLC in the past, but news came out that it was delayed, and then the developers started getting fucking death threats.
And it's not even delayed that long. It's delayed from the end of June to the end of July or something like that, isn't it?
Death threats? I didn't hear about this. Really?
Oh yeah, he got death threats on Twitter and emails and Reddit posts being like, "This guy's a liar. He's a thief. He's taking our money. He's gonna."
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I've given you the link to the article, Tanya, in the chat there. But yeah, it's not like Mighty Number 9, which has been delayed now for over a year. This is being delayed by 2 months.
Yeah, so it's not even so the original release date was what, end of June?
It was supposed to be released June 21st, and now we've got August 9th.
20th.
August 9th.
That's not even 2 months. That's 6 weeks. That's not even that bad. And the reason for it was a couple extra weeks of Q&A polishing, I think. Is that the reason? Was that the reason given?
Hold on. I don't know, because whoever wrote this article did not actually give an actual reason.
All right, so looking at, there was no reason given. And Sony and Hello Games, like Sony and Hello Games have said that it's not coming soon instead of it being June 21st.
But anyway, it's been delayed by 5-6 weeks.
Yeah, it's 6 weeks roughly thereabouts. And if you're delaying a game for that short of amount, I don't say short because it's not that short, but you're delaying a game for 6 weeks, I would assume that most of that delay is due to QA testing. Some really big last minute bug got found and they need to fix it, or they need to make sure they have enough server hardware to make up to fill the what is it, I forget the wording he uses, but it's the whole infinite galaxy, infinite universe type thing.
It's randomly generated, yeah.
Yeah, they're randomly generated. If you're having millions of players on randomly generated environments, that's a lot of hardware and processing power you need to do. Maybe they're introducing crossplay. Maybe they're introducing crossplay on all servers so that you can play with friends on PC or play with friends who are on console. So that'd be a good thing to just have a game be delayed for. That way, it doesn't matter what console you get it on. You can still play with your friends, or you can play with family members, or if you're a Twitch streamer, then you can be streaming the game along with the Twitch people, your viewers.
But the reaction that this got, this 6 weeks or 5 or 6 week delay getting death threats, including, if you read the rest of the article that I linked to, including the editor at the Kotaku who posted that article, got a death threat.
These people are fucking insane.
So this leads into the larger question that I wanted to bring up, is when. Because now we hear this a lot. When did death threats suddenly become the accepted norm for venting a frustration over a minor inconvenience?
When anonymity became the number one shield on the internet?
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Because
and it shouldn't sound like that is. It shouldn't sound like such a simple answer.
I know, and I agree. And there's been, okay, I believe in Japan, South Korea, China, and some other countries, access to the internet is tied not only to an IP address that you or an Ethernet cord or what have you, but you also have to have your social security number, and you tie that into your account for Google, Gmail, whatever so on and so forth. And the reason for that is this is meant to be anti-bullying laws, because people would literally post on school forums and bully kids to the point of committing suicide. And this was a way them trying to stop such a thing from happening, and also to protect users in case of identity theft or things like that, I believe, as well. I could be wrong on that last one.
So mainly it's accountability, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. And if you want to, you can post whatever you want, but you say anything that's actually offensive, or terrorist threats on the White House or something like that, you're gonna have a knock on the door from the FBI saying you need to come with us into this black SUV and go to this undisclosed location, which may or may not be an illegal interrogation site.
I mean, it reeks of entitlement, number one. And number two, whether the death threat is actually credible or not, it doesn't really encourage developers to want to talk about the developing process with their fans or with the
Exactly.
internet at large.
Yeah, and the whole point of the social media, like developers interacting with fans, is show transparency and be like, hey, I'm really excited about this game. I want to have you be excited about it and tell your friends about it. And here's what we're doing, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. Please, or to give honest, thoughtful critique of it, and so that we can improve upon it before the game gets released. Because I want to have this be something that not only you like, but your friends like, and therefore gets me more money so that I can proceed to make more games for you guys.
And
That'd be ideal.
Yeah, that's the ideal, and the reality is people are using it for bullshitting on the internet, doing death threats because the vocal minority wants Picassos and Mona Lisas, and instead they want to be involved in the making of it, whether it's buying the ink or painting the brushstroke themselves because they think they're not creative.
And part of it, it's just like, and this might also have something to do with that too. I mean, a lot of the general public and a lot of gamers, I mean, unless you really work for a video game studio, they have no idea the amount of time and effort it takes into developing a game. So they just want the end result. And when the end result gets delayed, then we have these man-children.
Yeah.
These pitiful half-men who start whining and screaming about it. Some of the comments on the Polygon article are pure gold, for example. Like, one of them was like, oh, relax, surely those threats were only about ethics and delay announcism.
Wow.
And it's like, just generally speaking, I've in the past couple of years, really since like the birth and advent of social media, now that these people have a outlet to voice their bile on, that they can feel that they can get away with it, and I say this semi-jokingly, but I'm mostly serious. Eventually, something's going to happen in the U.S. where some terrible event is going to occur that's going to involve social media in some fashion, whether it's the death of a important individual or some terrorism act that, in theory, could have been prevented by anonymity no longer existing, and that we're going to have 3 to 5 years of bullshit Congress action going on. But eventually, I feel that the U.S. is going to do a similar thing and require people to tie in their social security number, driver's license, what have you, to even be on the internet.
Well, I hope not, but I mean, that's the thing about the internet. It's the best and the worst wrapped up all into one.
Yeah, and I really hope it doesn't happen, because I want to believe that humanity is better than that. But every time I get that feeling, I then look to the death threats and all the bile and hatred aimed at creative people, and I just go, oh, I don't know why we're failing so hard.
Well, I mean,
Donald Trump is, I guess, would be another simple answer would be like, for all the enlightened people, your Nikola Teslas and your Einsteins and your Carl Sagans, you have your Donald Trumps, your Kim Kardashians, your
Donald Trump and his tiny hands. Anyway,
yeah, your human feces of the world.
But I mean, when you look at the industry, though, I mean, you look at just any creative industry for that matter, not just games industry, but any creative industry, and there is more of that not just death threats, but just general backlash against any creative person who creates something for the general public consumption. If it doesn't meet what they think is their expectations. And this goes for any medium at this point, any medium. I mean, I see it in WWE. I see it in, I see it in when it comes to art. I see it when it comes to gaming, of course. I mean, gaming's big on backlash lately. I see it especially in regards to movies and comic books. It's pretty much any fandom you can think of at this point. They have this entitlement attitude. And, I mean, perfect example. I'm going to be very quick about it, but perfect example. I received an email, no lie, I received an email that said, "Hi, my name is blank. I'm 18 years old. I would like for you to create a game for me. I can pay you $50.
Oh, a whole $50.
A whole $50 to create a game.
Is this game going to last 10 minutes? Because if it's going to last 10 minutes, then maybe. Otherwise, no. Get out of here.
No, this person wanted a full-fledged RPG, and they didn't understand what went into game development. So they thought $50 would do it. And this is the reason, because that's an average price of games nowadays. Oh God, yeah, no, this is what, and conducting interviews, I run into this attitude. When I conduct interviews, when they go for positions with my company, I run into this.
I remember you had a gem recently. That was...
I did.
You had a prize. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I ran into some gems. I mean, I really have. But I mean, and unfortunately, it's happening not less, but more.
And to tie into your point, there's, again, on this article, a brilliant comment saying that, the thing is that this isn't exclusive to gamers and shouldn't be treated as such, and that the commenter would argue that it isn't even that new of a problem. As long as mail has been around, people have been sending death threats for pointless shit. The internet just makes it easier.
Faster.
And since we have anonymity, that's the thing. That's the shield. You tie someone's actual name to it, they might think twice.
You hope they think twice. But then again, I point to Donald Trump.
And his tiny hands. But... So...
Yep, agree.
So that's it. It's just stupid. And anytime I read an article like this, it's like you wonder why gamers have a negative stereotype from people who are not gamers. Because you see this, it's like, oh well, all gamers must be, thin-skinned, entitled, hyper-reactionary man-children. And
it used to be we weren't that. It used to be we were just pasty-skinned kids who had no time on their no better excuse for their free time.
Well, I'm still pasty.
Sorry about that, Brian. Go ahead.
I'm still pasty. So
I was like, I'm still pasty. I don't know about you, but I'm as white as a piece of printing paper.
I love being called, mind you, of who and what I am. I love being called a transphobic bigot. Thoroughly enjoy that. Oh yeah. And in case I'm very open about this, in case somebody's not aware, I am transgender. I'm male to female. So I've been called that before. I've been called a transphobic bigot. I don't understand.
Humans are dumb. That's just the moral of the story. Just our species sucks. But there you go.
Our species is how we became to be number one on the planet baffles all of us.
Yeah, how we managed this long after crawling out of the mud is just mind-boggling. It's just last point I'll make. It's please, Great Britain, take America back. We obviously our experiment has gone horribly wrong, but so. There we are. We've gone through some very nice, interesting chat there. So if any of you out there on the wide world of the internet listening in have any questions, comments, thoughts on this episode or any other episode, or you want to get in on a free play episode, we are doing 2 more. They haven't been scheduled yet, but we are doing 2 more this year. Go onto our website, www.dlcpodcast.com. and check us out, send us feedback, check out the episodes, take a look at our bios. Again, if you want to be on an episode, let us know, drop us a line. We will be happy to have you because we like to open DLC to everybody. It's just what we do. So I think that about wraps it up for us. So thank you, Tanya, for joining us, delighting us with your earthly presence.
It was wonderful, darling.
It was wonderful, darling. So, very good. Thank you, Ron, for, again, the live-in host.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
And with that, I am Brian, and have a good one, everybody.